I think this is the question that anybody who makes books, anyone who writes stories, draws pictures, creates art, gets asked this question: where do your ideas come from? Well, for me, I have a bit of a different answer, because what I'm trying to do most of the time is create things that are funny, especially funny things for kids. That's what I do. So for me, it's about trying to come up with something, not just something that's new, but something that's going to draw out a smile. Now, I do these wonderful exercises with students in schools, where we explore this and we actually use their reactions in the classroom to gauge it. But here's my secret. Here's the thing that I use the most if you want the quickest way to get something to be funny, to get an idea or a story to really make kids laugh. And it is to combine two things that don't normally go together. So, the best example I have of this probably is The Fart Monster, which is our biggest selling book and our most popular character. We've just sold so many of these books around Australia. These books are in so many kids' bedrooms and bookshelves, and that just makes me ridiculously happy. And one of the secrets to this is the way that Tim and I came up with the idea in the first place. We wanted to make a story about monsters, and we were thinking about the fact that there is a monster under the bed. There is that concept. Here is a concept that kids are familiar with, and that monster is scary, and it stops them sleeping, and it wakes them up, and it makes it hard to turn out the light, and you've got this sort of scary monster notion. And we thought, okay, so we could do a book about scary monsters, but that in itself is not going to be funny. How do we make it funny? Well, the twist was to go, what if, instead of making that monster scary, we made that monster smelly? What happens if the monster under your bed wasn't scary? Actually, he was really cute. The problem wasn't that he was scary, the problem was that he stinks. And what sort of problems or what sort of situations could that create for our boy character in There's a Monster Under My Bed Who Farts? What sort of interesting, funny situations could that create simply by putting together two things that normally don't go? The monster under the bed and farts, smelly things. In fact, the series that Tim and I do, that's what we do. We combine a bodily function with something else that kids like that it doesn't normally get combined with. And so when I talk to the kids about writing stories and creating stories, or as a parent, if you're telling bedtime stories to your kids, one of the secrets, I think, for making it funny is to start with one thing. Often with my daughter, we start with pick an animal. We pick an animal. And from there, you combine it with the most random thing that you can think of. The more random, the more likely it is to create a funny scenario. And instantly you're away, coming up with your bedtime story, or your picture book, or your comic, or your video. You're away when it comes to humor if you combine two things that don't randomly go together. So that's my answer to the most common question that I get asked. Where do you come up with your ideas? I start with one thing and I combine it with something else that's totally random until it makes me smile.